Thank you. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The school board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express their opinions on corporation matters. Community members requesting permission to address the board are required to complete a registration form prior to a motion to approve a specific agenda item. Individuals will be permitted to speak during the specific agenda item before a vote takes place. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No person may address or question board members individually. Any questions on personnel should be directed to the superintendent by contacting his office. No participant may speak more than once, are limited to 3 minutes, and may not pass their minutes to another participant. First thing on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. May I please have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion from Mr. DeMeyer. Could I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Shale. Is there any discussion?
I would like to amend the agenda and add item G, approve outside extended criminal history background checks for the 2025-26 school year. And also add item H, approve closure of 5th grade at Prairie View and Rolling Prairie Elementary Schools to transfer students for the 2025-2026 school year.
All right, we have a motion to amend the agenda to add action item G, which is to approve the outside extended criminal history background checks for the 2025-2026 school year, and to also action item H, to approve the closure of 5th grade at Prairie View Elementary and Rolling Prairie Elementary Schools to transfer students for the 2025-2026 school year. So do we have a motion? Can I have a second on that motion, please?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second on the motion to amend the agenda. Is there any discussion on the amended agenda? If there is no discussion, all those in favor of approving the amended agenda, which includes adding action item G and H, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion will pass 5-0. At this time, could I have a motion to suspend the regular board meeting for our budget hearing?
So moved.
I got a motion from Mr. Shale. Can I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
A second by Mr. Goddard. You gotta speak up louder. All right, all those in favor of suspending the regular board meeting for our budget hearing, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Mr. Scott, the floor is yours.
I'd like to start by saying thanking the board and Dr. White for letting me present, and let's look at our 2026 proposed budget. To start with, just a little bit about the process to do the budget every year. We have several deadlines we have to meet, and going back 3 weeks to August 4th, which was the last board meeting, that's when we asked permission to advertise the notice of a public hearing in Gateway. That was approved, our Form 3. And then a few days after that, on August 7th, we did post the bus replacement plan, as well as the capital projects plan on the website. And then thankfully, on August 14th, the DOGF gave us the last bit of information we needed to finalize all the budget forms. That allowed us to post the notice of public hearing. It has to be posted 10 days before the board meeting. We got it in at 11, so we just got our information set. Everything's been posted properly for the budget. Tonight, August 25th is that public hearing on the budget. And then sometime before September 12th, we will post the capital projects plan as well as the bus replacement plan on the New Prairie website. At our next regularly scheduled board meeting on September 22nd, we're going to ask the board to please adopt the budget as well as the bus replacement plan and the capital projects plan as well. And then sometime before November 1st, that all has to be submitted to the state. And usually end of November, early December, we get our approved budget back from the state. A little bit about the framework for this. It starts out, we have all sorts of requirements that we have to do. There's about 7 or 8 different forms that have to be completed and put into Gateway. These start out with like a general budget estimate. We have to put everything about our debt. They look at our current finances. We get things about miscellaneous revenue from the state and what's projected. And once we get all that from different entities, we put together, complete all the sheets. Those have all been completed. They are all posted in Gateway. We have advertised that public hearing we're having tonight, as well as the capital assets plan and bus replacement plan. That's a check. Tonight we're holding our public hearing, and then before October 31st, we have to have everything submitted to the state so they can start looking at it after November 1st. It then goes to the Department of Local Government Finance, the DOGF, and basically they're going to look at everything we submit. Most often they usually modify it a little bit. I would expect rainy day, debt service referendum should be exact. Usually, sometimes they do play with the education fund numbers just a little bit when they look at their different formulas. Once they are all set, we'll get that 1782 notice, which will actually be our budget for the 2026 calendar year. As far as looking what maybe to expect or what might be a little different from last year, you might notice that our debt service numbers will go down a little bit, but our referendum numbers will go up a little bit. And that is because we're getting ready to pay off the 2023 B bond, will be paid off in December. And then the 2011 QSCB, as well as the 2015 lease, will both be paid off in January. With those coming off the books, that gave us a little bit more room for the referendum from 2016. All right. You'll also see very little change on this, but it is the beginning 2026 of new property tax formulas, and those are scheduled to take place over the course of 6 years. So we will not see the full effect of the new reforms that were just passed this summer until 2031. All right. We'll look at some of the funds. There's 5 of them that we actually send the numbers for. First one is that education fund, 101. Usually like to point out that these are not supported by property taxes. All right. Our budget for the 2026 year is $23,718,000. Plus, we will ask for $3.4 million in a transfer to operations. If you'll bear with me, I'll explain that one a little bit better moving forward. Overall, this is a 2.7% increase in the budget from 2025. We're expecting that increase primarily go to salary and definitely going to have to go to benefits. All right. Where we get this money, it's based on our student enrollment, our ADM, average daily membership. There's also some increases in there that are dealing with special education, vocational, foster students, English language learners, as well as our honors diploma numbers. So we get a little bit of increase for those. The student ADM, the official count will be October 1st. And we're looking at enrollment might be just a little less than last year at this time, but it is higher than we were expecting. So it's kind of a positive twist for us there. And then probably should point out that the state, the last 5 or 6 years, does do a second count in the spring. It used to be one count only for the year. They now do a second one. This next year will be in February 2nd. I only bring this up because traditionally we lose about 30 students on average from first semester to second semester. And about 30 students makes pretty big a difference in our ADM. All right. I mentioned earlier, we are going to ask for that $3.4 million transfer from the education fund to operations. I can tell you that this is the exact same number as last year. It did not increase or go down. And the way that'll be worded is not to exceed $3.4 million. What we traditionally do is we see where we're at in the operations fund. If that money is needed, it's transferred. If not, we hold a little bit back in the education fund. Our next 2 funds are the debt service funds, 200 and 292. Debt service will have a budget of $1,445,150. All right, this is going to pay for that QSCB of 2011, the 2015 lease, our 2020 A general obligation bond, and the 2023 A general obligation bond. This number is a little bit lower than last year, we said, and that is because that 2023 B general obligation bond will be paid off in December, so that goes against 2025's budget. But then also the 2015 mortgage lease and the 2011 QSCB, those will be paid off in January. So at debt service, we pay those off twice a year. Those two will only come off the books in January, and then they're gone. All right. The referendum 292, its budget increased this year a little bit to $5,261,500. This is for that 2016 referendum. The number is going up because some of our other debt's coming off. We are also now paying principal and not just interest like we were the first several years. We started that just over a year ago. All right, maybe a little bit more complicated is the operations fund, 300. Most of you probably already know that this used to be three separate funds. It was capital projects, transportation, and bus replacement. We have a projected revenue of about $10.5 million. Right? This also includes the tax cap loss that went up a little bit this year to $749,200. It also does include that transfer from the education to the operations fund. Our budget that we are sending into the state is for $11,073,499 for year 2026. Again, it is up to $3.4 million that will be transferred. We'll see that as we get close to the end of the year. And then maybe some notable things that come out of this is it used to be capital projects, transportation, bus replacement were all together. Now that they're separate, we're finding out that they're not always funded properly. And that is the reason for that transfer. The state allows up to 15% of your tuition support to be transferred from education to operations. Can't go over the 15%. We have a number a little bit less than that to make sure we have a cushion just in case we lose ADM or anything like that. And then we also have some money coming out for some capital projects, up to $60,000 in 2026, a little bit higher, $550,000 in 2027. A lot of that will be based on board decisions on what projects they choose to address. We also have our bus replacement plan that we're looking to replace 3 buses next year that should cost just under $450,000. A couple of these, it's a little bit hard to see, but some capital assets that are a little bit smaller. We've had for several years now on the agenda to possibly replace the drop-down curtains in the main gym at the high school. There's a little concern about how easily and difficult they are to get up and down. Maintenance is also in need of a new tractor. They have a tractor that I believe is older than most of the people in this room. All right, so I'm not sure how much longer that's going to last. A couple bigger projects that are also on the books coming up here. One that's been scheduled for a while now that we're hoping to finally get to is that flooring at the middle school. And we're also looking to have to do some roofing issues, probably starting with the main gym roof of the high school. Again, these couple things the boards will have to decide as we move forward. The bus replacement plan. This is one that I sit down with our transportation director, Mrs. Sanford, and we go through and we look at all of our buses, how old they are, what needs to be replaced. And the state requires a 5-year plan. So our plan from 2026 through 2030, right now we have it scheduled to replace about 3 buses per year of different kinds. And then we're hard to see what their estimate cost would be to do that every 3 years. We said 2026, we're looking to replace 3 buses, hopefully for a little under $450,000. With that, our last fund that I need to talk about is the rainy day fund, 610. This fund is through transfers only. It is not tied to the tax levy in any way. Usually we transfer funds from the education fund to rainy day in December. That includes all the interest money that we get for the year. This year, I'm expecting a transfer of about $200,000. And that is because overall, we're looking to get about $700,000 in interest. The board voted previously back in January to spend about $492 of that on our new buses for this year. So once we take out the money for the new buses for 2025, we should have about $200,000 remaining in interest to put in the rainy day fund. There is the possibility of an additional transfer from education to rainy day. A lot of times there's a little bit of extra money. We're not planning on a whole lot this year with our current financial situation, but a small transfer is possible. Overall, requesting a $1 million appropriation. That is the same as last year. And then again, as we move forward, the board will have to decide what projects they may or may not want to use rainy day funds for. And then just a few things to kind of finish up here. Our financial picture, overall, we're in decent shape, not terrific. ADM is always a concern. If you look in fall of 2024, a year ago, we had 2,875 students. We lost 33 at the break, where we finished the year 2842 after the spring count. If you go back 1 year previous to that, we started the fall of 2023 with 2,910 students. We finished that 23-24 year with 2,882. As of today, the last count, we're currently sitting at about 2,874, which is almost exactly what we had last year. We were expecting a little bit of a decrease, so that number so far has been a big positive. Overall, our education fund, we are looking at a 2.1% increase in the basic grant. Again, that's all going to depend on that ADM, which will be taken on October 1st. The operations fund will see an increase of 4%. That is based on the MLGQ, and that is set by the state. That is not our choice. That's our maximum that we can go up. The tax cap is going to increase a little bit its effect on us. Last year was estimated that we would lose about $470,000. This year, with those new property taxes just kind of kicking in, that number's gone up to $749,200. I mentioned earlier, this process is just beginning. We will not know the effects on this for another 5 years. And other than that, you probably mentioned nutritional services. They've been experiencing stable revenue. They seem to be controlling their issues pretty well, so they're not a concern. And overall, that's what we are presenting for our budget to the state that we will ask you to be voting on September 22nd. Any questions I might be able to answer?
Quick additional comment. Mr. Scott mentioned the property tax caps and the impact of recent legislation. You have a packet of information we received last week from Baker Tilly. We participated in a countywide meeting that Mayor Tom Durbin over Laporte put on for county government units, and it's a breakdown of Senate Bill 1 and that 6-year impact of property tax reform that Mr. Scott mentioned. So that information's there for you to review.
All right, thank you, Mr. Scott. Okay, there are no questions. Can I have a motion to return to our regular board meeting?
I make a motion.
Moved, can I have a second? Moved and seconded. We will head back to our regular board meeting. And next up are consent items. Can I have a motion to approve consent items, please?
So moved.
And I'm going to call that Mr. DeMeyer. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Smith. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving consent items, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion will pass 5-0. And we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. White, the floor is yours.
Good evening. I'll just highlight a few things for our guests and anybody watching at home. Wanted to share, we shared a communication last night with New Prairie staff and families that will be hosting at least 3 public meetings this fall. Those meetings have been set for September 8th at the New Prairie High School Auditorium, September 22nd at Olive Elementary School, and October 27th at Prairie View Elementary. And the purpose of those meetings are to engage the community in a very straightforward conversation and dialogue. We get a lot of questions as school leadership about, the industrial and economic development in Olive Township, and how is that going to impact our schools? How's that going to impact enrollment? How's that going to impact Olive Elementary? Are we going to add on to Olive Elementary? All these kinds of questions. We're just going to enter into a real straightforward process where we're going to share a series of information at these meetings, recent enrollment trends in the school system, a breakdown of our enrollment data per building, our in-district students, our out-of-district transfer students. Mr. Scott mentioned during the budget hearing that ADM, or average daily membership, being tied to funding the state sends for educational programming and the education fund. So we're going to also connect that enrollment in total and by building to our district budget and that impact that it has on programming and employees and salaries, and also share some reporting on utilization rates, particularly at our elementary schools, particularly at Olive Elementary and Prairie View Elementary, connected to the reporting regarding enrollments at those schools currently and in recent trends. And then just talk about what we know at this time to be either confirmed future housing development in Olive Township or potential housing development as that begins to play out, as we see the economic development happening around whether it's Amazon or the battery plant, et cetera. And then we're just going to share some possible scenarios that could happen for our school district if we see that enrollment increase within district housing development. We know it's a question that many community members have. We have all been approached multiple times informally by community members. And so we're going to begin to share some information and some possible ideas and get community feedback and answer questions and try to sort of inform future steps in this regard. So we look forward to those. The meeting on September 8th will be at 6 p.m. at the high school auditorium. And then the meeting in September 22nd and October 27th, those will be at 6:30 p.m. after our regular board meeting at 6 o'clock. So we look forward to engagement, community engagement. The same presentation is going to be given at all three meetings if you're not able to make it. And we're going to broadcast those.
Yes.
We're going to broadcast those public meetings as well, so you'll be able to engage that way as well. So we wanted to highlight that. That's a real important process this fall. And then we also wanted to highlight, and we have a recommendation coming for the board to accept some donations from the community. As you'll see, we have a lot of very generous, not only individuals, but groups, organizations, and corporate entities that are really stepping forward and helping the school system in extra ways. I just wanted to, we have multiple that we're going to be highlighting over the course of this semester. I'm going to mention just two tonight, knowing that we have others that need to be mentioned at future meetings. But we wanted to thank two donations that are being recommended for approval tonight. The first is the Howmet Corporation has granted $50,000 to New Prairie United Schools for a partnership around STEM empowerment and providing opportunities and resources for students to broaden their engagement around science, technology, engineering, and math initiatives. So that's a really exciting grant that we're going to be able to do some really proactive things with. And then we also wanted to thank a number of partners. The lead on this would be Amazon, and then some universities, Indiana University, Grand Canyon University, to name two. We're starting a college readiness initiative, particularly any family can benefit, but first generation college students, families that have students that might be the first from that family to go to college for the first time. There will be a lot of resources and mentoring and opportunities available through the high school, and made available in part by Amazon, providing $65,000 in initiatives to help with that. And that's just part of the overall money Amazon is granting to the school system, both now and in pledges in the future. And that money will be used to come around families and students that want to explore college as a potential career development option. We've made it very clear that we invest in and care just as much about career readiness as we do college readiness. And we know that students can be successful if they enter the workforce right out of high school, particularly with the right apprenticeship and the right programming. We have so many great programs we can connect students to in the area. But also on the college preparedness side, there's some additional things we want to do to help students with
there's not just the academic preparedness, there's a lot of life and soft skills preparedness. And the grant can go a long way to help with those matters. So we want to thank Amazon and HowMet and those university partners for the grants and the recommendations you'll see tonight. So those are two areas we wanted to highlight this evening.
All right, thank you, Dr. White. Are there any questions for Dr. White? All right, we have no questions. We will move on to action items. And we'll jump right into donations. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board accept the following donations. Olive Township Elementary School received a generous donation of school supplies from the American Legion in New Carlisle, Miller's Mary Manor in New Carlisle, and Tentacle Inc. of South Bend. New Prairie High School Athletic Department received a monetary donation in honor of James Williamson from Robert Beck of Cromwell, Indiana. New Prairie United School Corporation received a donation, as Dr. White mentioned, of $65,000 from Amazon for career exploration activities. New Prairie High School received the grant of $50,000 from HowMet Aerospace Foundation for STEM programming. And finally, the New Prairie United School Corporation received a donation of $3,432.70 from Amazon for the first Teacher Day breakfast. With that, could I please have a motion to accept donations?
So moved.
Yeah, a motion from Ms. Smith. Can I have a second? Seconded by Mr. DeMeyer. Is there any discussion?
Say thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, all those in favor of accepting donations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion's going to pass 5-0. Action item B is to approve and adopt the second reading of quite a few updated board policies. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve and adopt the second reading of updated board policies as follows. Bylaw 0166.1, the consent agenda revised. Bylaw 167.2, executive sessions revised. Policy 1216, dress and appearance revised. Policy 1220, employment of the superintendent revised. Policy 3216, staff dress and appearance revised. Policy 4216, support staff dress and appearance revised. Policy 5511, dress and appearance revised. Policy 2131, Volume 1, educational outcomes for students rescinded. Policy 2131, Volume 2, educational outcomes for students revised, now known as Policy 2131, educational outcome for students. Policy 2210, curriculum development, a technical correction and updates. Policy 2221, mandatory curriculum revised. Policy 2340, field and other corporation sponsored trips. This is a replacement policy. Policy 2370, educational options revised. Policy 2370.02, flex program revised. Policy 2411, guidance and counseling revised. Policy 2421, career and technical education program revised. Policy 2623, student assessment revised. Policy 2700, annual performance report rescinded. Policy 3120, employment of professional staff revised. Policy 4120, employment of support staff revised. Policy 3120.02, adjunct teachers revised. Policy 3120.11, public hearing before commencement of collective bargaining and public meeting before ratification of tentative agreement revised. Policy 3142, cancellation of a teaching contract, revised. Policy 4213.01, staff-student relations, a technical correction. Policy 5111, determination of legal settlement and eligibility for enrollment of students without legal settlement in the corporation, proof of Indiana residency, revised. Policy 5223, release time for religious instruction, revised. Policy 5310, health services, a technical correction. Policy 5330, use of medication, revised. Policy 5410, promotion, placement, and retention, revised. Policy 5460, graduation requirements, revised. Policy 5462, retaking a class, revised. Policy 5517.01, bullying, revised. Policy 5540, the schools and law enforcement agencies. This is a replacement policy. Policy 5540.01, investigations by the Department of Child Services. This is a new policy. Policy 5540.02, the schools and governmental agencies. Once again, a new policy. Policy 6111, internal control standards and procedures, revised. Policy 6116, time and effort reporting, revised. Policy 6151, bad checks and uncollectible debts, revised. Policy 6230, budget hearing, revised. Policy 7300, disposition of real property, revised. Policy 7310, disposition of surplus property, a technical correction. Policy 7430, safety standards, revised. Policy 7440.01, electronic monitoring and recording, revised. Policy 7455, accounting system for capital assets, revised. Policy 8120, volunteers, revised. Policy 8121, personal background check, contracted services, revised. Policy 8330, student records, revised. Policy 8400, school safety information, technical correction. Policy 8405, environmental health and safety issues, indoor air quality, animals in the classroom, and idling vehicles on school property, revised. Policy 8451, parasitic infestation, head lice, bed bugs, revised. Policy 8500, the food service program. This is a replacement policy. Policy 8510, wellness, revised. Policy 8540, vending machines, rescinded. Policy 8640, transportation for field and other corporation-sponsored trips. Originally, in our first reading, this was a rescinded policy. This has been changed to a revised policy. Policy 9150, school visitors, revised. Policy 9160, public attendance at school events, revised. Policy 8606, bus drivers and cellular telephone use. That's a New Prairie United School Corporation revision. And finally, Policy 5421, grading. And once again, that's a New Prairie United School Corporation revision. So with that, could I have a motion to approve and adopt the second reading of updated board policies that I just read?
So moved.
All right. We'll get that to Ms. Smith. Okay, I have a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Shale. Is there any discussion on any of those policies? All right, all those in favor of approving and adopting that second reading of updated board policies, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion passes 5-0. Action item C is to approve the memorandum of understanding between New Prairie United School Corporation High School, and Ivy Tech Community College, Valparaiso campus for dual credit. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve the memorandum of understanding between New Prairie High School and Ivy Tech Community College, Valparaiso campus for dual credit. Could I please have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between New Prairie High School and Ivy Tech Community College, Valparaiso campus for dual credit, please?
So moved.
Got a motion from Mr. Goddage. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Smith. Is there any discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving the memorandum of understanding between New Prairie High School and the Ivy Tech Community College, Valparaiso campus for dual credit, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion will pass 5-0. Action item D is to approve an overnight field trip request. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve the following overnight field trip request. Mr. Fowler of New Prairie Middle School Band Director and New Prairie High School Band students request to attend a summer workshop at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida on May 30th, 2026 through June 5th, 2026. Can I have a motion to approve the overnight field trip request for the New Prairie High School Band students and New Prairie Middle School Band Director, please? I have a motion from Mr. DeMeyer. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Smith. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the overnight field trip request, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion will pass 5-0. Action item E is to approve the activity bus replacement. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve the recommendation to replace one activity bus at the purchase price of $91,374. Could I please have a motion to approve the activity bus replacement, please?
So moved.
Got a motion from Mr. Shale. Can I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Goddage. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the activity bus replacement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion will pass 5-0. Action item F is to approve some concrete work at Rolling Prairie Elementary School. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve concrete work at Rolling Prairie Elementary School. The concrete work is to extend the sidewalk as part of the new bus pickup line for increased safety at a cost of $12,420 to be performed by MC's Homestead Construction Incorporated. Could I please have a motion to approve concrete work at Rolling Prairie Elementary School, please?
So moved.
Got a motion from Mr. Goddage. Can I have a second?
I will second.
Seconded by Ms. Smith. Any discussion? Right. All those in favor of approving concrete work at Rolling Prairie Elementary School in the amount of $12,420, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion will pass 5-0. Action item G is to approve outside extended criminal history background checks for the 2025-2026 school year. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve pro screening to administer extended criminal history background checks for outside organizations for the 2025-2026 school year. Could I please have a motion to approve the outside extended criminal history background checks for the 2025-2026 school year, please?
So moved.
Got a motion from Mr. Shale. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Goddard. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the outside extended criminal history background checks approved for pro screening to administer extended criminal history background checks for the 2025-2026 school year, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion will pass 5-0. And our final action item of the evening, action item H, is to approve the closure of 5th grade classes at Prairie View and Rolling Prairie Elementary Schools to transfer students for the remainder of the 2025-2026 school year. It is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve the closure of 5th grade at Prairie View and Rolling Prairie Elementary Schools to transfer students for the remainder of the 2025-2026 school year. Could I please have a motion to approve the closure of 5th grade classes at Prairie View and Rolling Prairie Elementary Schools to transfer students for the remainder of the 2025-2026 school year, please? Have a motion from Mr. DeMeyer. Can I have a second?
I will second.
Seconded by Ms. Smith. Is there any discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving the closure of 5th grade classes at Prairie View and Rolling Prairie Elementary Schools to transfer students for the remainder of the 2025-2026 school year, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. That motion will pass 5-0. Discussion item. It's our first reading and discussion of updated board policy 2430, corporation sponsored clubs and activities. So we will open that up to discussion. Anybody have any comments, questions? No? All right, since there is no comments, questions, once again, this policy will be uploaded to our website under the school board tab. You'll be able to see it under documents, and you'll see any changes that are being recommended for board policy 2430, probably as early as tomorrow. So if we have no questions, we'll move on to board comments, and we'll start to my right. Ms. Smith.
Well, just to welcome everybody back and looking forward to a great year.
All right. Mr. Dwyer. All right. Mr. Shell.
No, good here.
Mr. Goddard. Good. All right. Well, we have a very special board meeting on September 8th. There'll be a work session beginning at 6 p.m. at the high school. The meeting itself will actually start roughly about 10 minutes sooner at 5:50 though. We'll have just a special board meeting just to officially kick off our bargaining. And I think we have one other item that we'll be doing as well on that night possibly. So again, that'll start around 5:50 and then 6 o'clock we'll do our work session. So is there any further business from the board? If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.